Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. Welcome back to a brand new weekly podcast, Tru Heel Heat 126. On this edition of Tru Heel Heat, we will be discussing the latest wrestling news, including major changes for AEW coming in 2022, WWE NXT mass releases, including a certain somebody we recently talked about finally being released. Huge injury for New Japan Pro Wrestling with Ospreay suffering a neck injury and vacating the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Fallout from WrestleMania Backlash with Roman Reigns versus Cesaro for the WWE Universal Championship. And Impact under siege with a new number one contender for the unified Impact World title. Recap of AEW Dynamite with more build up for Double or Nothing, and WWE NXT with Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed in a steel cage for the NXT North American Championship, and WWE Raw with Bobby Lashley Open Challenge, and the host choice for WWE Mount Rushmore, plus a little more. I am back once again with the resident Tru Heel alcoholic himself, Top Guy JJ.
Oh yeah, I fucking need it. This week. I mean, shit that we gonna have to get into, and then the way this morning started, Jesus Christ! Like, let's just go. Let's go.
Absolutely, he's got his drink in hand. He's making up for last week, and back with us after a hiatus last week. She is
hiatus.
The
wow.
Beautiful, the lovely Miss Krssi Love.
Hi guys, the storm is clear, and I am back here again. Happy birthday, SP. I hope you had a great day, time, all of the above. Love you.
Aw, thank you, Krssi. I love you too. Yes, I had a great birthday. SP, 33 years old, here with us today. And this edition of Tru Heel Heat is brought to you by our friends over at Battle Club Pro. Battle Club Pro made the franchise reign on Saturday, May 29th. 2 shows in one day from Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. You can get your tickets if you're in the New York, New Jersey area on brownpapertickets.com, or the announcement that they made this week, you can watch live on Title Match Wrestling Network if you are all around the world, as they will be live streaming for the first time Battle Club Pro. And a shout out, of course, we got to also, speaking of streaming, shout out our friends over at Powered 4 TV, John Scott and the boys. You can get 50% off your first month of Powered 4 TV with the promo code SP3. Yes, and of course, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, drop us a like, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family. If you are watching us live during our premiere, throw us a super chat. Donate to the Tru Heel Heat movement. We are now monetized on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, so your super chats for this taped edition of Tru Heel Heat will be shouted out on the next edition of Tru Heel Heat. Ooh. As we will be going live before Double or Nothing on May 29th, and Battle Club Pro made the franchise reign on Saturday morning. So check us out, join us live for that one. If you donate with one of your super chats, $1 or more, we will shout you out on the next episode of Tru Heel Heat. But if you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat, and leave your comments down below on all the latest wrestling news. If you're listening to us on all your favorite podcast platforms, make us one of your favorites, leave us a review, and we will also shout you out on the next edition of Tru Heel Heat. And speaking of all the subscribers, all the supporters, we start things off with our Tru Heel roll call. This is where we shout out everyone who's supporting us on social media and the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Our top 3 conversation starters on the Tru Heels group page on Facebook. Coming in at number 3, we have Correlite TV. Coming in at number 2 is Argino Bismo. And coming in at number 1, once again, the Negro Buck out of retirement, Nick Jackson.
Fucking relentless. Fucking relentless. And you know the cool thing I saw about Power 4 TV? I saw a classic banger, like, and one of those underground ones too, with sort of Fallen Angel, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe. Like, oh my god, they've had so many matches, but they had a particular one. I think it was on IPW.
Yes,
it was. Oh my god! Like
one PW.
One PW. Sorry, one PW. I apologize. But it was okay. Giving me some hidden gems on there.
Yes. If you're interested, my boy John Scott has said he wants to give us some footage, some shows that we can review. So if you like that type of stuff, JJ, nice. we can get into it. We can get a deep dive into some old school independent wrestling.
Oh, I mean, shit. A couple weeks ago, you caught me catching the classic All-Father match with him and Elijah Burke. Like, I'll just randomly watch some classics, and hell yeah, I would be into that.
Absolutely. And a couple of Tru Heels that we got to shout out: Mark Hoskins, Seth Reddy, Alex Howard, and Rachel Cornell. All of those supporting us on social media and our Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Our YouTube subscriber highlight, we got to highlight Rambo 77.619 on Tru Heel Heat 120. 125, Tru Heel Heat 125. This is for you, Top Guy JJ. He says, and I quote, "I like that Top Guy JJ. He's a lot of fun."
Ooh.
Okay. Rambo's comments is usually a lot of fun too. I know who Rambo is. Rambo is usually a lot of fun in our live chats on YouTube.
Yes,
Rambo's usually very active on our chats on YouTube.
You just say thanks.
I appreciate that, brother.
He gets spicy with his Kenny
Omega. Brother, I hope you're a brother, because I don't know if you're a brother or a sister. Because Rambo comes in many shapes or forms, and your picture, to be fair, is a picture of Rambo.
Exactly. Keeps it consistent. And Kwame Shafir, one of our usual contributors, he also commented on Tru Heel Heat 125. Blood and Guts setting the business back 30 years? ? Fuck out of here. The current modern day version of Monday Night Raw is really setting the wrestling business back 30 years because of the repetitive segments and matches that end with nonsensical finishes that has absolutely no payoff. And the Alexa/Lily magic stuff is horrendous television, much like Papa Shango and Warrior stuff from 30 years ago. Monday Night Raw is literally a 3-hour rage-triggering, uninspiring, unexciting, sleep-inducing television.
I love that.
Well, and he said
triggering. I love that shit.
I'm like, do I have to watch Asuka and Charlotte again? Like, I was like, turn it off. Just turn it off, please. I cannot, like, again and again and again.
It's a weekly show, so you're gonna see a lot of match repetitiveness.
Right.
It's how they do it. It is done with no effort. Like, it's just thrown together every week. The whole show is thrown together every week.
I told you, it's like bingo. It's the same thing. They take the balls out. Okay, yes, this one, put them together.
No effort.
This one, put it together. It's the same thing. Like,
you gonna talk blood and guts, setting back wrestling for 30 years. Monday Night Raw, hold my beer. Hold my motherfucking beer.
He thought Raw was rage triggering. Your comment, Kwame, rage triggered JJ and Krssi here.
But because it's the same, you know why? SP, don't come on.
Yes, but we're gonna switch. We're going to switch things up this week. We're not starting with what we missed. We got a couple of big top news stories to get into immediately. First up, we got to talk about All Elite Wrestling moving to TBS in 2022. All Elite Wrestling and Warner Media have announced that AEW Dynamite will be moving to TBS in January of next year. Meanwhile, their new show, the show that has been widely rumored, widely talked about by everybody in the company, Rampage, will debut on TNT on Friday, August 13th. 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That show will also be moving to TBS in 2022. Tony Khan first made the announcement on Busted Open Radio with a new deal coming out of this thanks to Warner Media getting the rights to the NHL and putting that on TNT to necessitate this move. It actually
didn't we have the movies to speak about this before about the NHL? Yeah. Okay.
But this move actually restructures their deal. PW Insider confirms that this is for an 8-figure payday for All Elite Wrestling with a new show as well as moving networks. PW Insider reported some additional details on the news and the internal reaction within the company. As noted, the new TV deal also includes bringing 4 new annual quarterly supercards to TNT. So AEW Dynamite won't be on TNT, but they will have something akin to WCW Clash of the Champions or WWF Saturday Night's Main Event, the supercards that will be on TNT. According to the report, AEW is said to be receiving a payday valued in the 8-figure range for the new deal to bring Dynamite and Rampage and the new quarterly specials to TBS and TNT. Additionally, PW Insider notes that this news is seen as a positive by AEW officials and that the new programming is a great way to increase AEW's footprint on multiple networks with more content to produce. Following Rampage's debut on TNT in August, the new show will also be moving to TBS starting in January 2022. Rampage will air weekly on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio reports that AEW has no plans to change the name of the TNT Championship currently, even with the move to TBS, and have plans to do live editions of Rampage on Fridays before pay-per-views. So let's start off with Miss Krssi Love returning to us. What are your thoughts on AEW's move to TBS in 2022?
Well, like I said, we did speak about some type of rumors of like what was going to happen once NHL, once everything starts opening back, and we already kind of knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. So we knew somebody was going to get shifted, and someone was going to just be not removed, but like just transition and go from another station to another network. So I'm excited. I'm sure they're going to still give us the same product, and TBS, bring it on. So let's do it. I'm happy that they have the new show, which is exciting. We don't have to watch it on YouTube, so have more more people to watch, I guess, more viewership. So that's exciting. I'm super excited for them, and I can't wait to see Rampage.
Yes, as Dusty Rhodes used to say, they're going back to the mothership, baby. So, Top Guy JJ, what is your thoughts on AEW moving over to TBS, which is in fact in 1 million more homes than TNT?
The packages.
The anti-AEW nation on social media were like, this is a downgrade for AEW. That it's more money, and TBS is available in more homes. But what's your thoughts on this move, JJ?
Anybody that says TBS is a downgrade is a bunch of idiots. And the reason why, because TBS is more on the basic cable networks. That is the stuff that people, the TNT is the premium basic cable network. Yep. So you're going to have to upgrade if you're going to want that in a plethora of other channels. Most people don't get it for TNT only. They get it for TNT and other channels. So TBS is a standard. It comes with your basic cable. So it would be sensible that it's in more homes.
Yeah.
Now to move to TBS, it doesn't, it's fine. They're basically sister networks, so it's not like it's something that's going to be a dramatic change in what happens. You'll probably see a new set that's going to probably be kind of cool. They're going to do something a little different for TBS. I just hope that it doesn't clash that semi. It's probably, I guess it's going to sound like semi-monthly. That we'll get an episode of Rampage or before a pay-per-view, like the Rampage, right
Rampage
before
will be live. It's already going to be. It's going to be every week.
I'm talking about the TNT special. I'm talking about the special that happens before the pay-per-views.
Oh no, it's not going to be a special before the pay-per-views. It's going to be its own like super card. It's going to be its own special like by itself, like Clash of Champions or Saturday Night's Main Event.
Okay, so to correct I'm just hoping that it doesn't correspond into it being something every month.
No,
I don't want every month.
It's only 4. Yeah,
you got 4 pay-per-views and you got 4 of these specials. So it's going to be basically like 8 major
There's going to
shows.
be 8 shows a year. I can
Right.
live with that. I can live with that. I just don't want it to become its enemy and have something every fucking month.
No,
That's the only thing.
no.
I get it, and that's the only thing that I'm hoping for. And it doesn't sound like that's the way it's going. So I am happy about that. Because once you get over digested with product, then it becomes regular. It becomes what we're watching today. So I'm glad for the move, and also I'm glad that it's one. I was most happiest about when you mentioned how much money they're getting out of it. The 8-figure deal is giving a lot of security. It's going to have the ability for them to re-sign a lot of their talent. They're going to be able to keep a lot of people happy. But I just hope that they don't overspend and they just keep the rosters that they got now and they just build the foundation with the groups that they got now. Because I just don't want them to go over crazy with the contracts that they got, because that's a lot of money and you can overspend it really fast. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're expecting one more big splash from them, and I just hope that they just pump the brakes a little bit and just establish this company with all the people that they have now, because they now 2 years in have a huge roster.
Yeah, and that's why I think like Rampage is a good thing, because one of my pet peeves with AEW Dynamite is that a little too much happens. Like, I like the fast-paced nature and they always hit you with something and it's very energetic, but sometimes they don't let things breathe. Like we talked about last week with the SCU Young Bucks matchup, with SCU having their moment, ending their partnership. You don't even give them a moment to have that hug in the ring. You're going right to the back because you're trying to fit so much things in. I think things will be able to breathe, and instead of us talking about statistics like 70, 80 people on an episode of Dynamite, we can cut that down to like 30 and 40, and then put the other 30 and 40 on Rampage. What do you think is going to be the biggest benefit of Rampage being the third hour on mainstream television for AEW, Krssi?
Like JJ said, that network is going to bring more view. Well, they're going to be on first TNT first, but for those that can now be showcased more, that were just on, like, on the YouTube channel, can now be on national TV, and more people can be open to watching them. I think it will be benefit where they can, like you said, they don't have to ram everyone all into this 2-hour show, and now we could be seen on this other show. So more, hopefully, maybe more women's matches where we just don't have like maybe 1 or 2. So I think it will like maybe showcase more women and more other different storylines, and more probably other tag teams too.
Yeah, they have a plethora of tag teams, and tag teams like Private Party, Butcher and Blade haven't been on Dynamite much lately, and they will have an opportunity to get their showcase on Rampage. What do you think is the biggest plus in this new deal for AEW overall? Do you think it's Dynamite moving to TBS, which isn't available in more homes, a potential for more viewership? Is it Rampage being this third hour of television on mainstream television, or is it the quarterly specials that they're going to have? Top Guy JJ.
I think it helps AEW expand all of their stories. It gives them a little bit. It gives them another leg to put their additional stories on. So like you'll see like how I wasn't really feeling the QT Marshall, the factory story. If that would have been something that would have been elongated a little bit more on Rampage and not just thrown in there on Dynamite and just make me like it, I would have probably bought into it a little bit more. So they have a lot of stories. Like they have Cassidy and the Best Friends. You got Private Party. You got the Big Money Factory that has just disappeared off TV all of a sudden. So all of these things that can just rehash, and they will have life on the additional program. So they can kind of take the week and alternate them on the shows. Like you can have 1 week on Rampage and then expand it to Dynamite. But then while you're giving one story the week off on Dynamite, you're bringing it over to Rampage, and then you're now carrying it over. So it gives you more time to expand the story. It gives you more time to put the stories together, because it's like when the opener that we just had on Dynamite? Who was it? It was Christian
versus Matt
Sydal. They had to, in the Christian and Matt Sydal match, they had to literally throw Taz in that commentator booth to get Team Taz's involvement. which is like, okay, this is Christian Cage trying to climb up the ranks, but you now have to throw Team Taz, and you have to throw all of these elements in there, and it was like, okay, there's a little much going on here, but now you can space it. You can give them their own breathing room, which I absolutely love that.
I also think it's also just building their brand. It's building it up, because you remember they're still a little company compared to what other companies we have to watch. So they're still building. They're still getting the name out there. So branding, of course, getting another show. Now it's going to be on this next network soon too, which will have more viewership. So just building their brands. Like we just had Raw for like, many years. They didn't get SmackDown until like how?
Took them 6 years. 6 years to get SmackDown.
Then they had Sunday Night Heat. So it's like building for those, like, and different, like, they're cruiserweights. They have so many wrestlers there now that they can build on these people and build their brands and make names in these stories to make it better.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on Wrestling Daily this week when we talked about this news that we're going back to like the days of where you had your Monday Night Raw, which would be Dynamite. Then you're going to have Rampage kind of be the SmackDown, and then Dark and Elevation is like Sunday Night Heat and Velocity. So I think it's going to help all of the programming for AEW, because my thing with Dark and Elevation is I don't watch it because it's way too long, and it's way too long, just full of like squash matches or matches that I know who the winner is before going into it. So now they can like make those shows a little bit shorter, more digestible, where you be more, you have more incentive to watch because you're seeing the development of guys that are going to be on Dynamite and Rampage over the next couple of years. So I think it's going to help those two shows. Like I said, it's going to help Dynamite because everything will be able to breathe, and you won't have 80 people on one episode. You can put them on Rampage, and Rampage, it's a 1 hour show, so they're keeping them in the structure. And also, Tony Khan, also worth noting, he said on Busted Open Radio that TNT offered him a third hour of Dynamite, and he was the one that was very adamant that he wanted it. He wanted the third hour on a different night and to be its standalone show. So it tells you that he is listening to the fans. He understands that the 3 hour Raws has been something that has been very, very much not liked by most wrestling fans. And of course, there's going to be the wrestling fans that are going to be like, oh, well, you're complaining about 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, but you're going to get 3 hours of wrestling on Friday because you got SmackDown and then AEW. You do realize that there are people that just watch AEW, don't watch WWE. So
it's a lot of people.
They'll get 1 hour of wrestling, and even so, it's still better. It's still 3 hours on Friday nights of the best weekly show of WWE and SmackDown, and then 1 hour of AEW is much better than the unexpiring, rage-inducing 3 hours of Monday Night Raw on Mondays that is totally devoid of creativity. I think people just make rash comparisons and don't really think about stuff. Yeah, I read one of those comments in the comment section for Wrestling Daily. So shouts out to you, brother.
You know what I actually understood? You know what's crazy? I actually came across an episode of Main Event on Hulu. Why did I enjoyed Main Event more than I enjoyed Raw?
I mean, it
was a Mustafa Ali and Ricochet, and they had a little vignette of Mustafa Ali's failures, and he's watching all his failures online, and then Ricochet is driving up the road, and then Ali texts Ricochet, run it back. So Ricochet pulls up, turns back to the arena, and they run it back. It's like, why can't we just get simple good shit? Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that on Main Event way more than I enjoyed anything on Raw for the past, God knows, probably like 5-6 months.
It's been a while. It's been a while for Monday Night Raw. I think the last time running Monday Night Raw was at least digestible was probably Randy Orton as the Legend Killer feuding with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
That was like the peak, and then ever since then, and then they dragged that out for a lot longer than it needed to go. So I think that I think that is it's nothing but a good news for
Yes.
AEW moving over to TBS, adding more television, adding more content to their weekly slate. So it's all
Yes.
good for AEW. Which
Mhm.
brings us to some news from WWE, and it's not so good news. WWE NXT mass releases of this week. PW Insider and my good brother Sean Rossap of Fightful reported on Wednesday this week that WWE NXT released a batch of talent on their roster and referees. The list of talent released are Alexander Wolf, formerly of Sanity and Imperium. He was kicked out of Imperium this week, not able to finish his story though, as he's now been released.
That
Brandy
makes sense now. Okay, go ahead, friend. I'm sorry.
Brandy Lauren, aka Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, Kavita Devive, Jessamine Duke, who is a part of the MMA Four Horsewomen with Marina Shafir and Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, Vanessa Bourne, who is actually supposed to be called up to the main roster, Jake Clemens, who was a referee. He was actually the referee that was originally
Yeah, that's the. Oh no, the
a member.
situation.
No. Jake Clemens is the guy that basically sided with Seth Rollins during the original Messiah gimmick that he had on Monday Night Raw.
Oh,
And then
gotcha.
finally, Drake Wuertz, aka as Krssi has dubbed him, Mike the Situation, has finally been released. A lot of information was leaked by Sean Rossap on Fightful Select. Definitely subscribe to Fightful Select if you like up-to-date news stories. Sean Rossap is working hard with the information and always has updates on his Twitter and Fightful Select, so definitely check it out. In regards to the release of Drake Wuertz this week, he talked about that we actually talked about 2 weeks ago on this podcast. Fightful Select spoke with several people in the company about Wuertz following his release, noting that he had significant heat after NXT TakeOver in Your House last year when he had negative reaction to Triple H's speech where he essentially said that all people, races, genders, and religions were welcome. This was following the big Black Lives Matter situations here in the United States. According to the site, Wuertz's attitude immediately changed after religions was mentioned, and he aggressively gathered his belongings before leaving. The roster was reportedly very aware that Wuertz was trying to put himself in a position for certain roles in WWE and would attempt to put heat on others in order to get in that position on multiple occasions. There was also apparently several points where minorities in the company took issue to ways that Wuertz worded things, and that several people of color went to higher ups to address it. There was reportedly one situation where Ezra Judge, one of the people that was released, almost felt the need to get physical with Wuertz over his wording of certain things. Wuertz had been bringing nuclear heat on himself over the better part of the past year, according to several people at the Performance Center, and no less than 10 wrestlers had told Fightful that they didn't feel comfortable or safe around Drake Wuertz. He was known to have vocally criticized talent for getting vaccinations, and even in terms of just getting flu shots. So it's a lot to unpack here.
Wow. Yeah.
Both this talent as well
Whoa.
as Drake Wuertz's whole situation. But first of all, let's talk about the mass releases. What are your thoughts on the latest batch of releases from WWE, this time with NXT? Top Guy JJ.
Honestly, it's not going to be something I'm going to complain about. I mean, the only one that I probably think about a little bit would be Alexander Wolf a little bit, and Vanessa Bourne. Like Vanessa Bourne, I thought was somebody that I really thought that she was going to have a really strong future in NXT. She was featured in matches here and there for the better part of 2-3 months, and then just completely vanished. And I didn't even know she was with the company this long. Up until this point, I already thought she was gone.
Right.
So it's another unfortunate day. But if you got a big batch of people that you're not really using, then let them go enjoy it. Let them go and try to make the most of their careers in other places, because these people were not being used at all. And Wuertz, the definition of a fucking scumbag. He's the definition of somebody that would get you fired from your employment because you want to fight him. Like he's literally that cancer that for some reason
Not cancer.
he is good. He is good with the higher ups, or he's good with some boss of yours, but he is a shitbag to everyone else.
Yeah.
And you can't even be in the presence of this man without your skin crawling, without your fucking blood boiling, without you getting goosebumps of rage, without you want to just knock this motherfucker cold out. He's that guy. And who the fuck are you to criticize anybody if they want to get flu shot Like, first you can see flu shot. I heard about that shit. You're gonna criticize somebody for getting a flu shot vaccine, not even knowing if the person is a parent, not even knowing if the person has a family trait or family history of any of this, or the person is just trying to protect themselves. So you're gonna vocally be against somebody's decision to either surround themselves with better protection for them and their families and not even know what the fuck you're talking about. Shit like that triggers you to get your ass beat. Yeah. And then when you use certain words with that terminology, you're going to use it to brothers. That shit that's finna get your ass beat. So the common term is they fired him for he was finna get his ass beat.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. I made the terminology. I did the top news story over on Sportskeeda Wrestling on Wednesday, and I was like, he basically was walking around with the Feast or Fire briefcase, and he didn't know that the pink slip was inside all these months, but he's definitely signed his own pink slip.
Yep.
Miss Krssi Love, what's your thoughts on the details surrounding Drake Wuertz over the last year?
That's the dude that needed to get his ass beat. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay. JJ summed it up basically. I mean, I'm surprised. Like, if you know this guy's bringing heat, why did it take you this long? What was he that close to the higher ups that he had? Like, did he got stuff on people? Like, did he have like
the lead referee for NXT? He was like the face of the referee.
Right, but again, it's like, at what point did he have you guys at the balls where you're like, you know what, we'll keep him? Like, you know, like, it's something where he had to have people by the balls for him to be having his job there. It's like, are you blackmailing someone? No, well, I'm not going to lose my job. Like, it's like, okay, now they was like, okay, everything's out. Now we can fire you. Like, it took you this long. Surprised he didn't get his ass beat in the process of being fired. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, who knows? Maybe somebody did. I would hope so. Yeah, I hope he got a good, like, punch in the face. But hey, what up, man? Listen. I'm just shame on WWE for not doing it sooner. Shame.
Agree.
Sometimes I swear you try to like give them the benefit of the doubt, and then they do so stupid shit like this, and even like, I try, really, really try. We try to give you the benefit of the doubt. You gotta do some fuckboy shit like this, and then this is why you guys are fuckboys all the time.
Pretty much, and he's very much the 2010 Mike the Situation fuckboy of the WWE.
Yep, there you go.
So, and
perfect example. See,
I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that Ezra Judge, got released as well, because he was the guy that was going to put hands on him, that was going to whoop his ass. So it's kind of a shame that
That's all image protecting, brother. That's all image protecting. You can't have these bad seeds finna beat somebody's ass because they see a cancer inside. They just couldn't. That's image protecting right there.
And I think it's a bad image protection, because look at the guy. If you've seen this guy is like a perfect like wrestler. Like, he looks like a perfect specimen that would be great for WWE, and he's only been with the company 20 months. So it's
it's a pandemic still, friend.
He's already let go.
There must be a little bit more to that to understand. So why? Yeah, there got to be a little bit more. So why he got released specifically then?
Well, specifically WWE. Fightful did also note that WWE said the reasoning for these releases was, guess what? Budget cuts.
Don't fucking say it.
Budget cuts.
How much money with that?
So
that
we all fucking blind. We all fucking blind. That we just didn't see these motherfuckers get this $1 billion deal from Peacock.
Yep, budget cuts.
For handing them a digital library.
Budget cuts.
Digital library. This shit was no real content, just a digital library. But they budget cuts.
Record profits in 2019, record profits in 2020, on its way to record profits in 2021, but budget cuts.
That's like us at True Heel Heat saying, "Yo, we just got we got $1 million for handing over all our episodes, but you know what? We got to trim our episodes because this ain't quite working
What would you?
financially for us because we got to get back to our lives." Like, yo, we about to hit the club and we about to make some cuts. Like, come on, what kind of oxymoron shit is this?
Oh,
But
and it's
It's-
sad to it's so sad to say because when I watched it Sunday, I'm like, am I behind or am I forward? I don't know where I am. I hope I'm watching the same stuff everyone else is. That's why I didn't really like talk online with you guys because I was like, I'm afraid I'm behind or lost. I don't know. I feel like
just not talking to a bunch of educated people here.
right.
Budget cuts.
we shall talk about what happened on Peacock on this past
Oh,
Sunday.
see what I'm saying? Okay, look at
in a
that.
bit. And speaking of WWE NXT releases, in a shocking bit of news that actually broke right after we were done recording this episode of Tru Heel Heat, Velveteen Dream's WWE tenure is officially over. According to PW Insider, multiple sources have confirmed that Velveteen Dream, real name Patrick Clark, has been released from his contract on Thursday. Fightful's Sean Roth Sapp confirmed this news. This follows a multitude of controversies concerning Velveteen Dream, most notably allegations during the Speaking Out movement of sexual misconduct involving grooming underage boys and sending explicit photos to an underage girl. Velveteen Dream has denied these allegations, and Triple H said they investigated this claim within WWE and quote-unquote didn't find anything. It was later revealed that WWE never even contacted the accuser of Velveteen Dream during the whole Speaking Out movement. It also follows Velveteen Dream receiving a warrant for his arrest in April of 2020 after he apparently broke a car window with his hand. It was a altercation that didn't have too many details, but there was a warrant for his arrest that was later dropped. He hasn't been on TV since the December 23rd, 2020 episode of NXT where he lost to Adam Cole. Recent reports had said that within Fightful Select that Dream had not been at many NXT tapings lately and had been coming to open ring sessions. There was said to be a growing concern within the company that he was being positioned to help out with classes as a coach. The outlet reports that Canyon Seaman, a part of WWE Talent Relations, sent an email at around 4:45 p.m. Thursday to inform those in the company about Dream's release. He is said to have a 30-day non-complete clause, much like the other NXT talent that were released this week. It's a lot of controversy, a lot of stories about Velveteen Dream, not just those that we just mentioned, but a bunch of behind the scenes unprofessionalism that has been reported. A lot of these things are allegations and accusations, so we cannot confirm it, but we do want to let you guys know that we will be on top of this and we'll have an update on the release of Velveteen Dream during our live Tru Heel Heat 127 next week. One more top news story to get to, and this time we're going over to Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling, as they had some very shocking and sad news this week. On Thursday morning, it was announced that Will Ospreay has vacated the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship due to a neck injury.
I'm so sad, man. This is so sad.
Will Ospreay has vacated the IWGP World Heavyweight title as he is out of action with a neck injury. New Japan Pro Wrestling released a statement Thursday morning and revealed that Ospreay suffered the injury during the second night of Wrestling Dataku with his matchup against Shingo Takagi, which was rated by Dave Meltzer as 6 stars, the highest rated matchup of 2021. They said he would not be participating in the next series of events and will return to the United Kingdom for rehabilitation. There's been no timetable is set for his return, and as a result, the IWGP World Heavyweight title is now vacant. as an announcement on what comes next for the IWGP World Heavyweight title will be made at a later date. This follows news of New Japan Pro Wrestling having issues with another COVID-19 outbreak, as
Oh
9 total
no.
wrestlers have been confirmed to test positive for the virus, and this week it was confirmed that David Finlay and Switchblade Jay White are 2 of those wrestlers, being the latest to be confirmed by Fit Finlay, his latest appearance on Gerald Briscoe's podcast, talking about the 2 men being stopped as they were on their way home as they tested positive for COVID-19, and the 2 men are currently still in Japan quarantining at the New Japan dojo. Fit Finlay also noted that this whole issue with this outbreak has made David Finlay think about his future and whether or not he wants to continue with New Japan or look at other options. But it's a very state of flux for New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. Krssi Love, what's your thoughts on this huge injury, and what do you think is next for IWGP World Heavyweight title?
First, when I read it, I was so sad. I feel really bad because I'm sure he was going to give us a great run. I'm sure most likely they'll do another tournament.
They love tournaments.
Exactly. They love tournaments. they and they'll have like a 2-night tournament for this vacated title, and they're going to make it a big spectacle after everyone gets cleared of COVID. First of all, I feel really bad, and I hope he can come back from this stronger and better than ever. Do his rehab and take it easy. Again, it just sucks, man. They do this for a living, to perform for us, and injuries happen, and it was probably an accident or something. It was an accident, and it's just unfortunately, I feel bad for him. But again, I think tournament, probably a 2-night tournament, something big, a big spectacle.
So yeah, I think B and JJ have a little bit more experience or memories of Will Ospreay and his issues with his neck. It dates back to 2018. I actually was talking to Alex McCarthy about the injury when it was announced, and he talked about him seeing Ospreay in 2018 in New Orleans having the neck problems when he went against Matt Riddle at the WrestleCon Super Show.
Okay.
But it really originates all the way back to April of 2018 with his matchup against Marty Scurll, if you remember, Top Guy JJ at Sakura Genesis 2018, when he did a Spanish fly and landed neck first on the apron. So
that's where all of this is spinning.
It's sort of like the Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he got dropped on his neck at SummerSlam 1997, and it wasn't until Survivor Series 1999 that he had to go out and take time off for his neck injury. I think they
blamed it on.
Okay. Well, yeah, they blame it on Rikishi doing it for the people. But never mind that. What are your thoughts on this huge injury, and what's your thoughts on Will Ospreay, being out on probably the run of his career with 4 different rated 5-star matches this year, including that 6-star match of the year candidate with Shingo, his last match?
Wrestling has a funny way of working, boy. Like, it just got a funny... It's got a funny way of working. Like, we were just talking about this literally last year of him having an up and down 2020. Like, his 2020 was very up and down. And just to start off 2021, we were just like, we just hope to get that 2019 run of potentially best wrestler in the world, because it was basically Seth Rollins in 2018, him taking 2019 by storm.
I would say Kenny Omega in 2018.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. The best bout machine. Apologize. I know one of those 2 years, Seth Rollins had a very strong year as well.
No, Seth had a strong 2018, but
it was one of those years that he was very strong. Yeah, and then it was but best bout machine, yes. But it was Ospreay in 19 for me, and then 20. Obviously, we went through the whole 20s list, probably headlined by Moxley, but going into this year, it was like, who's going to take that reign? And it felt like Will Ospreay was on that verge of doing that. And then he does something stupid by giving his girlfriend an ox cutter.
Yeah.
so and it's like, why? It's almost like, why? And then it's like, we're still asking why. Still don't know why that even took place. And then instead of getting him defeated for the IWGP title, he gets taken out. And no one defeats him. And now he's going to be out for God knows how long, for probably at least a year, because He's got to get the training. He's got to get the rehab. He's got to be comfortable whipping his neck, whipping all of these with all of his offensive style requires so much of his neck being jerked around that he's going to have to feel comfortable with that aerial assault to resume his career, most likely in 2022. It sucks. It sucks. Like, it just sucks that things just come to a halt like that. Like, we were just talking about it, like, damn, we were shitting on the title more than him at this point. Like, the fucking belt is the thing that the American Nightmare Championship is what I'm still coining that shit. I don't know who's going to take the burden of that. I thought this was Ibushi's burden, but now it's. I just think now, make it simple. Make it simple. Don't make it too overcomplicated. Just make the winner of the fucking G1 the new champion. The G1 is literally
the G1 is a couple of no. It's not because Tokyo has the Olympics, so the G1 is going to be back.
Which we still don't even know what's going to happen.
September or October.
Oh yeah, so then I'm with Krissi's point. There's obviously going to be a tournament now. I'm with Krssi all the way. I didn't know about the pushback of the G1, but yeah, if G1 was happening around next month the way it usually does, I'd have picked G1. But now it's not. Then yeah, there's definitely going to have to be a tournament to crown this new vacated championship. There's got to be a tournament. Just no way.
I would think that someone like Okada, it's just a bad time for New Japan. I feel like New Japan has never recovered from the pandemic because they came back during the whole pandemic. Those empty arena shows just didn't feel like New Japan. Then they decided to put the title on Evil, which did not get over well. Their creative was in a very much a bad state. You had Naito try to recover the title. Naito could never get hot. They had a great pair of shows with Wrestle Kingdom. Ospreay had a great New Japan Cup, and then they have the controversy with Ospreay laying out B. Priestley, and it seemed like they were starting to get momentum again with Ospreay's title run, especially after the matchup with Shingo Takagi at Wrestling Dontaku, and then this happens, and then the COVID-19 outbreak happens. Do you guys think that New Japan can get back to where they were at the beginning of 2020? Because Wrestle Kingdom 14, the first two-night Wrestle Kingdom, that felt like the last time that New Japan was really, truly hot, and it hasn't been hot since then, and their creative hasn't been that great. And, you know, that landscape of, people that could potentially become champion. Jay White, I think it's not the time to put the title on him because his first title reign happened because Omega left. He doesn't need another title reign because someone else is injured. You have Okada is cold. Naito is cold. Tanahashi is cold. It's like no one's
hot.
No one's really hot. Shingo just lost. Ibushi just lost. It's like no one has momentum to be the next IWGP champion. So do you think New Japan can recapture their momentum again? Let's start with you, top guy.
Absolutely, I think they can. And the thing I think with New Japan they have to do is that I think you probably, I'm pretty sure you know me very well, make the title something when whoever wins the title. And I thought they made the first mistake by making Evil's run so short. Like when
they needed to. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No, I got what you're saying is that but it's the same effect with the Jinder Mahal when he had the title. Like give them a run with it. Like Evil's run was like 2 to 3 months. Like it was so short that if he had a bad program or if his match wasn't bad, like it was over for it, and then they just canceled it, and then the title became a hot potato thing for the rest of the year. I do not like the biggest title in any company becoming the form of a hot potato. Because now it's like, now you don't know who your guy needs to be. You have no idea who your champion needs to be because you're putting it on this guy, you're putting it on this guy. I think this might have been the first time, if I recall, that New Japan has ever had 4 to 5 champions in 1 year. Yeah. That's insane to me. That is insanity. That title had that many champions in 1 year. Like there's no championship establishment there. So with the new champion, I just say pick a new guy. There has to be a new champion. And if he's not injured, because I don't know, because the last time I saw him, he was fantastic. Let's fucking go Sonata. Let's fucking go Sonata.
Jay News is happy somewhere
Let's
listening
fucking
to
go
this.
Sonata. Sonata has never been the champion before. He hasn't even had a shot at the champion before. His partner was the fucking champion. Why not see what Sonata can do? And Sonata is a magician in the fucking ring. So let's see what Sonata can do. He's never had the strap before. Everyone is cold. Why not try something new?
I mean, Sonata's pretty cold himself as well, but I mean, he's been taking jobs to Hanare of all people. He's not the hottest himself. I will say I agree with you, but with the wrong person. You said the wrong person should have had the longer run. I don't think Evil should have had a longer run because we saw in 3 months that Evil was not ready to be the IWGP World Champion. Naito should have got a longer run because it feels like the pandemic cut his run short, and then he came back, and then he had to lose to Evil, and then he wins the title back, and we all knew he was going to lose at Wrestle Kingdom. So it's like
we've been preaching that. We've been preaching that since he lost the title. I think we know that.
And then I think that Ibushi had got a run that was criminally cut short as well. So it just feels like these guys that they have been positioning for such a long time as their top guys, Naito and Ibushi, they cut their legs off, and now they're in a position where no one is hot and no one feels like they are ready to be the IWGP champion because they cut the legs off of pretty much everybody that was
too fast.
So they don't give everyone a solid run, basically. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it feels like they watch too much WWE.
It does feel like they are booking it like Jeff Jarrett in TNA or Triple H in Evolution with a couple of these interference-full main events that they had during like the Evil run and stuff like that. So hopefully we are all hoping that New Japan can get back on their feet and overcome a lot of situations right now with Ospreay being injured. Before him, Hiromu Takahashi got injured, so you don't have your junior heavyweight ace, you don't have your heavyweight ace. It's a very bad time for New Japan, so we're hoping and we're sending the best to everyone in Japan right now. We got to move on, guys, to what we miss, and of course what we missed was this past Sunday, WWE WrestleMania Backlash. In my opinion, one of the better pay-per-views since the whole Thunderdome era started. You had in the main event Roman Reigns with another excellent main event as he defeated Cesaro to retain the WWE Universal Championship. A near 30-minute matchup. Cesaro probably arguably one of his best singles matchups of his WWE career. Miss Krssi Love, what was your thoughts on that main event match?
Spectacular. Shout out to both gentlemen for giving a tremendous match. I mean, wow. This is what you guys should have been showcasing with Cesaro. We already knew he could do it, but like this is what he should have been showcased as one of the guys that can main event. Roman Reigns, I mean, our tribal chief can do no wrong. I mean, come on. It's just like each match is different and it gets better and better, I feel. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like and I think it's different with each person. I think his attitude with each person changes and he gets the connection with that person and he gives his own, he'll act the way he needs to and put on a show with that particular person. I think I think they both did a great job. Shout out to them. Even though I thought I forgot all about that particular match because I was like, once the match before that was that Bobby Lashley and them?
Yeah, it was the triple threat for the WWE.
I had turned it off and then I was like, oh wait, I forgot all about it. And that's when it was like going through like the story and I was all right. I forgot all about the Roman Reigns match and I had to turn the Peacock back on. But they did a great job. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the pay-per-view itself was actually surprisingly very good because the build-ups were trash.
Absolutely. So, Top Guy JJ, I know you were on the WrestleMania Backlash Roundtable. Great job.
Great job, friend.
And Romeo holding down the fort.
Yeah.
And you have high praise for Cesaro and Roman. What was your thoughts?
Oh, I gave it a 5-star. I gave it 5 stars. That was a perfect WWE match. I don't give a fuck what he said. I thoroughly enjoyed that shit from start to finish. Story, shit talking, match execution. There was nothing to me that was wrong with that match. There was nothing wrong with the match, and it was clean from start to finish. No interference. No, them two started it. Them two finished it. No story got in the way. I don't give a fuck what this little analytical dork is about to come in and interject to it. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
Okay, what is your stance on the SP? How do you feel,
friend? Maybe like 4.5. And he's
it's a 4.5-star match. That's not negating it. That's not negating anything. It's not a perfect match. It's not a perfect match. You literally you do this every time. Every great match is 5 stars to you. Every great match.
No. I don't give a lot of matches 5 stars. This is the shit that
I feel like you've given a lot.
Talking about with this guy. So he's listening, fucking head on hand, looking in disgust. And his review of the match is literally a 0.5 star less than mine's.
Mm.
Like mad extra. Mad extra.
Yes, it could have been better. That's what I look for. It could have been better. It could have been better.
Well, this is why we agree. This is why we have different opinions.
This is why we're a panel, and this is why it's called Tru Heel Heat, not SP3.
I never said it wasn't. I never said it wasn't. But that's why.
And then Uncle Dave is probably going to be on after just receiving a cum shot from a New Japan match. He's probably like, WWE matches aren't as good as this one. Wiping that New Japan cum off the side of his mouth, Just
he has to go to the extreme, and he has to assault Uncle Dave. Even though, yes, Uncle Dave deserves assault because he actually had the audacity to have Bruce Mitchell on the Wrestling Observer radio recently. So yes, I don't care of any assault or any slander you want to give Uncle Dave after that decision, but it wasn't a perfect match. I just think to Top Guy JJ, a lot of every great match is 5 stars. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. The match was 4.5. It could have been better. I feel like if Cesaro got a little bit more offense toward the end of that match and maybe just 2 or 3 minutes more, yeah, it could have hit that, but it wasn't. So 4.5 stars. I think this is one of the rare times I agree with Romeo's rating more than Top Guy JJ.
It looked like the unbeatable champion that he is, and it also made Cesaro look like an amazing could-be main eventer again. That is all I wanted out of this match.
Could have made the match where Cesaro at least had a little bit of ammo to get a rematch. With that result,
right?
Rematch. Like Cesaro is done going after Roman Reigns.
That's it is over.
We've already moved on to.
At this point, everybody should be done with Roman. They should just bring in a whole nother federation just for Roman. Nobody is ready for Roman. Nobody on the SmackDown roster.
He's the biggest star in professional wrestling. Like I said before, it's between Roman and Kenny Omega, and right now Roman has the edge. Roman had an excellent matchup, and he deserves credit, but just not 5 stars to me. But also, we saw just before that matchup, Bobby Lashley defeated Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre in an absolute banger of a WWE Championship triple threat match. I thought this match exceeded any and all expectations. I think I expected Roman to be great, but I did not expect this from these 3 guys. They went there and worked their ass off. This was the best that Braun Strowman has looked in
ever.
Hey, he said it.
Ever.
That's one point I won't argue with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He said it. He's absolutely right on that part for sure. Out of all of his matches, that is correct.
This is one I won't argue with. Yes, this was Braun in his SummerSlam 2017 best. This was that type of vibes to it. You also had Rhea Ripley defeat Asuka and Charlotte Flair to retain the Raw Women's Championship in a great opener. He did a great job of turning over the WWE triple threat tropes and a lot of 3-way type of offense and sequences. I love that opener. Bianca Belair defeated Bayley to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship in a good match. I think Bayley was really the star of this. She was absolutely during this matchup, even though Bianca Belair is always great with her strength and athleticism, but Bayley really controlled the whole match.
The match, yeah, I definitely agree.
Can I ask you, because I was very critical on this match.
Really?
I think this match was very sloppy.
It had a couple.
It was a little bit too sloppy, and
that's the thing.
Critical times too.
I think with Bianca Belair, the sloppiness to some of the spots and offense, it feels real. It feels like a real struggle.
My sloppiness was on Bayley.
No, I don't. I think Bayley.
I'm
okay.
Yeah, the hair part was obviously Bianca's fault, but I felt there was quite a few spots that Bayley missed.
No, I think just the finish was a little bit sloppy,
yeah,
but I think it's on point. I think a lot of the sloppiness was on Bianca's part, not Bayley's.
Especially with the finisher.
Yeah,
watch the match again.
I did. I watched it 3 times actually. I'm telling you.
I thought Bayley was going to be the flat out shining star of this match, and I just didn't get that.
Was, in my opinion.
I didn't get that.
I think
y'all know I love Bayley.
I know you gave her another great match from her for 5 stars. Yeah, I know. But yeah, we also saw in a great moment Rey and Dominic Mysterio defeat the Dirty Dogs to win the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Were you happy to see the father and son become the first ever father-son duo to win the tag team titles, Krssi?
I was actually very happy to see them win. Especially they made it more so where they try to eliminate Dominic, so you knew like the first of all, I love the name Dirty Dogs. I think that's very good for them. We've never got to speak about their name. Anywho, definitely think the way they positioned the match was just Rey and then Dominic coming out. I thought it was very good very, very good, entertaining. I think they did a great job, and why not be? Someone's got to be the first, so.
Why not?
They are the father-son duo that's doing it anyway, where one is young enough to perform, and dad can still do some things. So there we go.
And then of course we had on the other side of the spectrum
one
of the worst matches of the year. I will say it here and I will say it now. The worst match of the year ballot has already been filled for me. Yes, Damian Priest versus The Miz in the Zombie Lumberjack match was the absolute dirt worst match I've seen all year.
I'm about to say, was there other matches to compare it to? Because I thought that
Kane versus Randy Orton was really bad.
Oh, you're right. Yes, at WrestleMania. Dang it.
Benchmark. That was the benchmark. But
you're right, friend.
Nothing the Fiend has done all year was as bad as that. And we lost JJ. Did we lose JJ?
I ain't talking about that shit again. Y'all are not going to torture me on Tru Heel Heat 126 with that bullshit again.
Trigger.
Rage triggering and just we're gonna keep quoting you throughout this whole episode.
Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that. Y'all are not. No, I'm good.
Okay, well,
no opinion. No, you know what? I want no fucking opinion on that bullshit.
So we can all agree that it was the utmost basura.
That was my pay-per-view of the year until
in our life.
Yes, that was the only thing holding it back from being the WWE pay-per-view of the year, for sure. So, yeah, we'll move on.
That shit wasn't an only thing. That shit was a major thing.
It was.
That is the worst thing I have seen since I've been watching live television.
Now, can I just say one thing, guys? Now, when they put John Morrison to go see the Lumberjacks, and they came out, I was like, okay, all right, that can't be the real ones. No problem. Great. Okay, fine. But then once they came out, I'm like, no, you got to be shitting me. Nah, this can't be. No.
Yep, it was real.
Okay, we're not giving it no more shot. Go ahead.
No, we can move on. We can definitely move on. But yeah, other than that, one of the best WWE pay-per-views of the year. And on the other side of the spectrum, the other show we previewed last week, Impact Under Siege, the latest Impact Plus special. You had Moose defeat Chris Sabin, Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, Matt Cardona, and Sami Callihan in a 6-way main event to become the number 1 contender for the unified Impact World title against Kenny Omega. He will verse him at a Against All Odds, which is the next Impact Plus special, which is next month in June. Eddie Edwards and Finn Juice defeated Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers in a 6-man tag team matchup. Unfortunately, so in some unfortunate news, Eddie Edwards had an appendix injury and he will be out of action moving further, even though he got the big pinfall victory here, as well as we talked about previous, David Finlay is out with COVID-19. So a lot of injuries and people being out from that matchup. Fire and Flavor defeated Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering to regain the Knockouts tag team titles. You had Deonna Purrazzo defeat Havoc to retain the Knockouts championship. Josh Alexander defeated ELP to retain the Impact X Division title in a very fun matchup. And Ace Austin and Madman Fulton defeated Triple XL, Shera, and Rohit Raju and the team of TJP and Petey Williams in a 4-way to become the number 1 contenders for the Impact Tag Team titles. I will just go to Top Guy JJ on this one. What's your thoughts on Moose getting the big win and being up against Kenny Omega next month at Against All Odds?
Sir! That is what I've been clamoring for this whole time, baby. For Moose to get his motherfucking shine. Too late, too bad. I don't think he's going to beat Kenny Omega, but the fact that this is happening, the fact that this is happening for Moose is big. This is huge for Moose. Like, the fact that Moose has been not only in a unification match against Rich Swann, he has now been inserted to have a one-on-one main event with the AEW Impact AAA, whatever, Dingo Ball, Dark Evolution, heavyweight champion of the world, Kenny Omega. This is amazing for Moose. Like, I'm so fucking happy, yo.
Had to go to you, the captain of the Moose campaign, Top Guy JJ here. And also what we miss is AEW Dynamite. Of course, the Young Bucks defeated the Varsity Blondes to retain the AEW World Tag Team titles in a very good old school tag team main event. And of course, you know, we're taping this, so the AEW ratings will be right here. Voila! After that main event matchup, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, in one of my favorite endings to Dynamite yet, they laid out the Young Bucks and stole their Dior sneakers as well as their socks to end the show. I was laughing my New York ass off because that was so New York of Eddie Kingston.
No, exactly, because a lot of people didn't understand it, and shame on them.
You from Brooklyn, you appreciated that shit, yo. You spent your whole life growing up trying to protect them J's on your feet, and my man came up and you were sleeping. He took them shits off both their feet, yo. You got 2 pairs of fresh kicks and they exclusives? Oh yeah, I'm about to make a pretty penny off these shits. Or I'm rocking these shits to the next spot I'm seeing you at.
Yeah, I think by far this episode of Dynamite, the MVPs were Moxley and Eddie Kingston once again coming out to Wild Thing from Major League.
Yeah, right.
And they defeated the Acclaimed in a very fun tag team matchup earlier in the night that started with, in my opinion, the best Matt Caster rap yet.
Yo,
and the best line saying, your girl is always in my mentions. She's trying to hit me up for some oral sessions. Drop the mic, please. Drop the mic.
Yeah, his reaction afterwards to that. Like, yes, I know I just fucked that up. I know I just fucked butt. Yo, that fist that Moxley hit to start the match, though. He was like, "Hey, I felt every minute of the first 2 minutes of that match. That shit was so beautiful, so beautiful."
The Inner Circle accepted the Stadium Stampede 2 challenge from the Pinnacle with an awesome promo from Chris Jericho here. But in my opinion, the best promo of the night came from Miro, cutting an excellent promo talking about his TNT title victory, thanking Jesus Christ for giving him the strength and aggression to lay people out, and talking down to his Double or Nothing challenger, Lance Archer, as well as Jake the Snake Roberts, telling him that no amount of yoga is going to save his ass if he gets in the way. Anthony Ogogo destroyed Austin Gunn with 2 gut punches and a pop-up knockout punch, which is laid out and took out Austin Gunn. He's going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks. And Serena Deeb defeated Red Velvet in a brilliant NWA
Yes.
Women's World Title match. In my opinion, the match of the night. What stood out the most for you in this episode, Miss Krssi Love?
I thought the women did amazing. I think they were my match of the night. Coming second was definitely was Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley's match. But I think the girls, they at one minute I thought Red Velvet was gonna win.
Yeah, I did too.
I really thought that Red Velvet, but I think they both did amazing. Overall, great Dynamite episode. Great Dynamite episode.
Yeah,
Even go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sean Rossap put it best that Serena Deeb wrestles like Bret the Hitman Hart. It's like she is like a female Bret the Hitman Hart. If Bret the Hitman Hart was wrestling in 2021, she's that good. She's really consistently awesome. And Red Velvet, for someone who's so young in her career, and shout out to her. We've had her on Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel with an interview. She has a great story. She has a great look, and boy oh boy, is she showing a lot in every opportunity she's getting in AEW.
Yeah, definitely.
Tuesday nights, WWE NXT, they drew 700,000 viewers this week, which was up from last week's ratings. Bronson Reed defeated Johnny Gargano in a steel cage match to win the NXT North American Championship. In a nice pizza business with we had the Balor Cross 2 Prime Target to hype next week's main event. Tony Storm busts out a new finisher, an amazing finisher, in a win for Zoe Stark.
Great opener.
Absolutely. $1 Million Man distracted Cameron Grimes, leading to a loss against Jake Atlas. We had Index lives as Indy Hartwell found out that Dexter Loomis did not send the flowers to Shotzi and Emperor. You had Bobby Fish challenged Pete Dunne next week. You had Legado and Asma defeat Thatcher and Ciampa to get a shot at MSK for the NXT Tag Team titles in 2 weeks. Top Guy JJ, what stood out this week for NXT?
I love the Index segment.
Yes.
I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I absolutely the fact that Indy was never at any point during that whole segment mad at Candace at all.
No, she wasn't.
The whole point of her digesting that was realizing that she still got a shot with Dexter. She had no fucks given that she screwed her over with the. Are we good?
But now she has to explain to him what she said. Yeah.
He loves me. He's still. He's like, that went every way wrong.
It's beautiful. I loved every minute of it.
NXT was solid. It was solid. I am not. Whatever that faction with Swerve Scott is, I need to see that shit once or twice more.
What? That's the best thing on the show. If you don't know, now you know.
Dude, it is the most like I how can I say this and not?
It wasn't bad, Jay. You gotta give it a chance.
I love it, bro. Stereotypical ass shit. It is like really.
It's the best thing. This is the best thing on NXT.
You know what? Maybe I need to see it and digest it. Maybe on 128 or 129, I might feel a little different.
You gotta give them another chance, but I think they did great.
Like, I'm not fucking with this right now. Like, that's just maybe because I've been away from WWE for a few weeks. Because I don't know, but
then I had to put 2 and 2 together because I was like, oh, that's the man from that show on that come on after. Yep. I was like, yo, that's homeboy. I was like, no wonder.
And he's my favorite person. I'm a top dollar.
I'm happy that they all got time. I'm happy that they all got time. I'm happy that they all got time. But give me a little bit more of it so I can digest it. But I was just like, this shit.
I was like, yo, I'm like, who is this new faction? But when I saw them last week, when I seen them on Tuesday, I was like, I can mess with this. And then like you said,
charisma.
Right, and Homeboy's my favorite one. He's like he's my favorite one. So give it 2 more weeks, friend. I give you 2 more weeks.
I absolutely loved the video package to Balor and Cross.
Yes.
Loved it. Absolutely. Kind of actually makes me want Finn Balor to win next week to see this go into a trilogy. Like I would love that. I would
Correct.
love that, but just like NXT
It's
has
not
it just
gonna.
way
Yeah.
blowing shit off, and you just never see shit again for any time soon. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how crazy would that be for Finn
Yes.
Balor to defeat him next week, and then they have a blow off as the trilogy at
Mm-hmm.
the next pay per view? I believe this on June 25th or some shit.
June 13th,
June
in your
13th.
house.
So why would that be such a bad thing to just keep that going for at least the next month and a half? Like,
Yeah.
I see that would be so terrible.
We
I
shall
love
see.
to see these two
Right.
pairing together because I think Kyle O'Reilly needs more time in this cool gimmick for me to believe that he's a main event star.
I do agree there that Kyle O'Reilly, we're not ready for Kyle O'Reilly to be the NXT champion. He needs a couple more months. And then finally, what we missed, WWE Raw, we'll just skim through this. Bobby Lashley made an open challenge and accepted by Kofi Kingston, of all people, who beat him, actually. Bobby Lashley's first pinfall loss in months, thanks to interference from Drew McIntyre. Kofi also defeated Randy Orton, thanks to distraction from Xavier Woods. So
Kofi got 2 wins in one night.
Kofi Mania 2, apparently. Kofi Mania 2. Asuka defeated Charlotte Flair thanks to interference for Rhea Ripley. But if you notice, the theme of Monday Night Raw was interferences and distractions leading to finish. So that's all we have to say about Raw this week. Our news rundown here. So we got some WWE news. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, The Miz suffered a torn ACL injury. The injury is suspected to have occurred during after Priest landed on Miz's leg during their matchup at WrestleMania Backlash after he performed a spinning heel kick off the top rope during the match. Meltzer stated the severity of the ACL tear for Miz is unknown. Meltzer added that he heard from sources that they are hoping the injury was a partial tear, since that would not be as serious an injury or a long layoff. If the Miz suffered a full tear, it could mean he will spend considerable time on the shelf recovering, and he would likely require surgery. If it's a fully torn ACL, it means the Miz could miss up to 7 to 9 months. Per
Even Fightful a partial tear, he needs to fucking get that taken care of.
Fightful Select report, backstage talent and staff could reportedly tell something was wrong with The Miz during the match, but they reportedly did not think it was as severe as a torn ACL when it initially occurred. Talent and staff went on to credit The Miz for getting through the rest of the match with such a serious injury. Additionally, The Miz was praised backstage for making sure the match got to the planned finish despite his knee being injured. Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast over on Figure4Online.com reports that the company is working on new stage sets for both Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, which may be for their planned return for fans on a regular basis starting on July 16th. As we reported last week, the plan is said to have fans come back starting in mid-July for the July 16th SmackDown, their planned pay-per-view, which now seems to be Money in the Bank on July 18th, and Raw on July 19th. It is not confirmed that the return of fans will be when these new sets debut, but they are currently being built. And in other late breaking news, WWE has officially announced its return to live events with fans in attendance with a 25-city tour running through Labor Day. The tour will kick off with the July 16th Friday Night SmackDown at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. They will continue a tour within Texas on Sunday, July 18th with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view from Dickles Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, and then the following night, Monday Night Raw on July 19th will air live from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Tickets for all three events go on sale on Wednesday, May 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Prior to this, the other events that had fans in attendance for the WWE was, of course, the two-night WrestleMania 37s event in Tampa, Florida, and before this entire global pandemic had kicked off, the last WWE show to have a full capacity crowd was back in March 2020 in Washington, D.C. With that news, we also should note that WrestleVotes and Sports Illustrated recent reports indicated that SummerSlam 2021 will take place in Las Vegas, Nevada. We will have more updates on WWE's touring schedule on Tru Heel Heat 127 live next Saturday. WWE announced at WrestleMania Backlash that the next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell on June 20th. Fightful Select reports that there was reason behind... Yeah, Father's Day. See, they should have had Ray and Dominic win next month.
That day, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, that...
Missed out on that opportunity. There was a reason, according to Fightful, that WWE split up an induced share as Jinder Mahal was joined by Rinky Singh and Shanky on Monday Night Raw 2 weeks ago, rather than Singh and induced share partner Savara. The report claims that the sources state that the reason for Savara's absence was due to him being deemed not ready for television, which also could mean
he got COVID.
No, you were the person that linked the result to Keith Lee winning the NXT championship, so you're not television ready.
Oh.
Yep. PW
Where's
Insider.
Keith Lee, by the way?
Oh, good question. PW Insider has a report with details on Monday Night Raw this past week, receiving
and his woman.
Receiving a ton of rewrites. The show was reportedly being rewritten at 5:30 p.m. on Monday. The creative team didn't have a final script ready for the show. With regards to WWE not following up on the Roberto Carrillo versus Sheamus storyline, WWE officials reportedly made the decision to use Ricochet against Sheamus for Monday Night Raw. It's similar
which
to
I thought was actually good. But okay,
yeah, it was a good match. It was. It's similar to the creative team forgetting about Mansoor joining the Raw roster about a couple of weeks ago after his initial debut, and the writers.
Mansoor's on Raw.
Yeah, he debuted a couple of weeks ago and hasn't been seen since.
Kidding? Of course not. Of course not. They don't remember what the fuck they did 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And in interesting news that I had to note here, Krssi, because we talked about it a lot, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago on Tru Heel Heat, but none other than what our comment section said is the NTV The Challenge GOAT, Johnny Bananas, says that he is interested in following in the Miz footsteps and joining the WWE.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, he has
he has a personality that can definitely win over people. I definitely can.
I don't think win over people, but he would definitely be a great heel, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, get on people's nerves. That's what I'm saying. Like to aggravate me and be like, why is he here? Like, you know, like John Morrison, things like that. Yeah.
Or like early Miz. Absolutely, I agree.
Right. Like, who is this TV boy? Like.
AEW News, Fightful Select had an update on All Elite Wrestling's plans for this year's Full Gear event in November. Per the report, AEW wants to run its new Warner Media show that we talked about earlier, Rampage, live on Friday before this year's AEW Full Gear event, which is planned to air the following night on a Saturday. As of now, Rampage and Full Gear 2021 are slated for November 5th and 6th respectively. AEW officials reportedly confirmed that both shows will be held in St. Louis, Missouri, which marks one of the will be, if All Out is not in a different location, it seems like that will be the first AEW pay-per-view that will be in a different location outside of Jacksonville. New Japan Pro Wrestling news, New Japan announced that they will return with live events starting on May 22nd for the Road to Wrestle Grand Slam. Hopefully they have a couple of talent that are COVID-free for those events.
Yeah.
In very important Impact Wrestling news, according to a report from Fightful Select, Don Callis is no longer listed as Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President on the Anthem Sports and Entertainment website. This was first noted by TNA IW. Per Fightful's report, talents within Impact are speculating that Callis's role has changed or is significantly changing at the moment. Additionally, talents in Impact were reportedly led to believe that Callis Callis will continue on in an on-screen role for the promotion. Fightful Select also reports that Impact Wrestling have said they believe that Don Callis likely won't be in power in the company much longer. Callis was recently removed as VP, like we said before, and he was also involved in just the first day of the recent tapings and wasn't seen again for the other 3 days of taping. This was also true of Kenny Omega, as Impact filmed the content they needed for both in one day and they left right afterwards. What's your thoughts on Don Callis no longer being Impact VP, Top Guy JJ?
I wish that was something that was just happening behind the scenes but never made public for people to see. Because I love the fact that he's taking the on-screen thing a lot more seriously. He's dedicating way more time to it. But it would have just had the better ring to it if he was still like an EVP at another company. So I just wish that we got the news without having the news, if that makes sense.
We know, but we don't know if all the people watching know.
Well, we're sharing it, so they're gonna know. So
you know what I'm saying? Not everybody watches Tru Heel Heat. Not everybody follows Fightful.
So you know what? So then you know what? If you're gonna go with half the feel, then I'm gonna go with. I absolutely fucking love it. I love it because it just means that he dedicates. He's taking this very seriously, and you can see it on a week-to-week basis. He's on both shows. He's on Impact and on AEW. He's a busy man dealing with, booking storylines for Kenny Omega going forward on both shows, the production on how it's going to go on both shows. That's a lot of TV time to air for with your biggest star. So I like the move that he's actually taking a little bit off his plate.
Yeah,
absolutely. And in speaking of Kenny Omega, he has officially accepted the challenge of Andrade for Triple Mania coming up in August. So it will be Kenny Omega versus Andrade for the Triple A Mega Championship at Triple Mania. So we have a highly anticipated match coming up.
Andrade would have never got a match like this in the other company in his life.
For sure.
Man, I hope we could watch that together.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be a banger.
Other wrestling news: Allison Kay made her ROH debut, qualifying for the ROH Women's Title Tournament coming up this summer. In an exciting news for ROH, they announced this week that they will be welcoming fans back to live events starting on July 11th with their Best in the World pay-per-view. So congratulations for Ring of Honor finally bringing fans back to live events coming up this summer. And then finally, we got to end things off with another edition, folks, of Mount Rushmore. We kicked off this new segment on Tru Heel Heat 2 weeks ago with our Mount Rushmore of post-WrestleMania pay-per-views with myself, Krssi Love, and our guest Stat King giving our 4 greatest post-WrestleMania pay-per-views. If you like that type of conversation, check out my latest article for Sportskeeda Wrestling, where I gave the 5 greatest post-WrestleMania pay-per-views of all time. But this week, our Mount Rushmore is overall for WWE. Who is on the WWE Mount Rushmore to each of us? We will start things off with Miss Krssi Love, since she wasn't here with us last week. Krssi Love, who is on your WWE Mount Rushmore?
Okay, so my first person is going to be Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
My second person, of course, is the owner of the company, Mr. McMahon, because there wouldn't be that whole, he's a part of the he is a part of the Attitude Era. He became more of the commentator and more of a character, more of the asshole boss that everyone hated. So he has every right to be up there, no matter what we feel about that man. He is the reason why we get to watch those shows. Number 3, did I need to explain Shawn Michaels or no?
I think Shawn Michaels is self-explanatory. If you want to know why she picked Shawn Michaels, check out our A&E review of the Shawn Michaels biography. It's up right now with me and Romeo Anthony Cologne.
But you guys did a great job. Cheap luck. My number 3 would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's a great one.
And my last person of Mount Rushmore, I am going to go old school and pick Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dig it, brother. Okay.
Thank you.
I like that
Very
Mount Rushmore.
diverse. Yeah, thanks, guys.
So we got Shawn, Vince, Austin, and Savage. Top guy JJ, who's on your WWE Mount Rushmore?
We're very similar, but very different at the same time.
Cool.
So, number one, there's no way you ever have a Mount Rushmore in this company without the guy that revitalized and saved this company's life, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold saved this company's life. They were on death's doorknob. They were literally looking at the death of... They were looking at their coffin and they're sizing it up, and Stone Cold saved them.
Undertaker was making it for them.
Number two is his partner in crime, the chairman of the board, Vinnie Mac himself, because they're his company, and that he was a part of the greatest rivalry of all time.
Yeah.
So not only on screen, off screen, he is a visionary. He is the man of the WWE. You think WWE, two names come up, and the third one is coming now. It's Hulk Hogan. It's Hulk Hogan. I am gonna be the bearer of the Tru Heel Heat bad news.
It is
have
that,
to
yes.
take the heat and have to take the heat. But the WWEF is not the conglomerate that it is.
I love
without saying your prayers, eating your vitamins,
the red and
without
yellow,
ripping your shirt off, without the half bald head. This is before he knew he was a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, I was a Hulkamaniac
This
friend.
is before that. I was in love with Hulk Hogan. I loved him. I grew up with him. He was my fucking wrestling hero. He was my hero until I found out what I found out.
Yeah.
And we don't need to digress and go any further with that.
No.
So we're talking WWE. Hulk Hogan is there.
Okay.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Right.
And
then the final face
4 has to be the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
And the heartbreak, and the reason for Shawn Michaels is that Shawn Michaels was that dirty lifeblood that the company needed. That dirty alternate story that when Stone Cold was on the rise, DMX was DMX. Shout out to
DMX.
Shout out to Talkman X.
He said the DX,
that
the
shit
DMX.
came out by accident, but I don't regret it.
Do not edit that out. Keep that there, please.
DX was that lifeblood that Austin needed as a co-partner, because honestly, as much guys like the Undertaker isn't that he was never the guy ever at any point. Was Undertaker the man?
No, he wasn't.
So that's why I left him off and put Shawn on, because when Shawn Michaels came back, he became the guy again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he did it again. And then not only that, put on main event clinics with Chris Jericho, with Kurt Angle. He put on the two best matches of The Undertaker's life. Like, Shawn Michaels made so many people so relevant and gave them so many of their best caliber matches that it just enhanced his resume. And Shawn Michaels was the lifeblood of coming back. He was the story of coming back. He defied coming back from the treacherous injury. He just had so much definition into what this company is about. And Shawn Michaels he was the ring bearer of what ring excellence was like. This pains me to say because I'm a Bret Hart mark, but it's Shawn Michaels.
Good list, friend.
I like your list. I like Krssy's list. So we have on JJ, Vince, Austin, Hogan, and Michaels. I will give honorable mention to Vince McMahon. I was gonna put him on my Mount Rushmore, but you guys have done a great job of explaining why he deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore. But I'm gonna focus more on actual wrestlers for mine. Okay. And I'm gonna pick the 4 biggest stars in WWE history. And first, you have to start off with the immortal Hulk Hogan, like the first big peak
Big,
for
yeah.
wrestling in the WWF, the biggest star, the guy that when all three of us pretty much discovered WWF, the guy
Mm-hmm.
was Hulk Hogan. Although I was a bigger Macho Man fan, although I loved
Yes,
the
yes,
Ultimate Warrior a little bit
yes.
more, it was Hogan at the end of the day. So you have to give him credit. The Rock and Wrestling era, WrestleMania, these things do not become into existence without Hulk Hogan. So you have to give Hulk
Correct.
Hogan credit.
Trust me, these are tough pills to swallow for all of us.
Yes,
But
it is. That's why I
Second,
didn't put him on my list. But I'm happy you two did. Go ahead, friend.
second, like Krssi and JJ, I have to put in there Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is responsible for the rebirth of WWE. He took them from when they were losing to WCW to the promised land, the number one promotion, and they haven't left since. Like Austin is Michael Jordan, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yes,
It's a
yeah.
professional wrestling, and when it comes to of how hot he was at his peak, Austin was there. But Michael never had someone who was his peer. Austin did. So the third face is The Rock. The Rock has to be
Mm,
on this list because you don't get the peak of the Attitude Era, and why the Attitude Era is the biggest era in WWE history, bigger than the Rock and Wrestling era, because Hogan never allowed Savage or Warrior to be on his level. Austin
yes,
chose
yes,
Rock
yes.
to be on his level.
Say
He
it,
took
friend.
his
Say
time
it.
off. Austin or Rock went up to that stratosphere where they were 1A, 1B. So if I have to put Austin in, I gotta put The Rock in as well.
That's a
So
good
before
one,
I get
friend.
to my final, I gotta give the honorable mentions. Like I said, Vince is definitely an honorable mention. Michaels and Brett, both in-ring genius. If this was an in-ring Mount Rushmore, they would definitely be probably on my list when it comes to WWE. But they were never the stars of the three people I just named, and my fourth
Hmm.
name. Undertaker was the conscience. He was always the heart and soul of the WWE. He
But never
definitely,
this.
I can understand anyone who puts him on the Mount Rushmore, but he was never the top guy, so I
Yes,
can't put him
yes,
there.
yes, yes.
My fourth name is the biggest star since the Attitude Era, and yes, I am talking about
John C.
John Cena
Yeah,
has to be included in my Mount
that's
Rushmore. The
that is
biggest star, the man who had a longer run than all
and
three of
all
the
of them.
names
Yes,
that I
you're right.
just named. It was John Cena. He was the top guy for longer than all three of those guys, probably combined, because he went like 11, 12
12
years
years.
as
Yeah.
top guy. So I gotta include John Cena.
Oh, I love your list, friend. You did a yeah. Your list is very solid. Good job,
so
SP.
SP's is going to be the most popular list.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
That's a
yeah,
fact of life. His list is going to be the fact that he has Austin, Rock, Cena, and
and
Hogan.
yeah.
That's the most. That is
Those are
the
those
most
are yeah.
logical, common sense list that you're going to come up with because there's no argument against any of them.
Correct.
There is
You
no
can't.
argument
And
against any
if
of them.
you're arguing with him, you're a hater. You're a fuckboy. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's what. So we don't have the same list, but I ain't disagreeing with it.
No, I
No,
ain't disagreeing
not at
with
all.
any of
So
yours. You guys made great arguments for everybody that I didn't include, that you guys included. You
Hmm.
guys did a great job. I think
because
we all got a great job. But
I like that. I like this
but so
Mount
what you
Rushmore
like if
segment,
I
friend.
didn't meant like my toss up was Shawn Michaels and John Cena. Unfortunately, The Rock wasn't as close to me because I was like, I'm not removing Vince McMahon.
I
No,
understand.
but that's why we have different opinions, but we can all agree on like who said what and who said it and who and why we said it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like we are not mad at anyone's list. No one's like, oh my god, you're kidding, you're a fool for putting that person. No, every person that we've listed has a legitimate reason on why we have said their names.
That was very impressive, Chrissy, how you said that without moving your mouth or your
Yeah,
face or
apparently, so
your.
you're doing this with magic right now. You're a product of television magic right now because you're not moving at all. You're stuck with the why the fuck did you put them on your list face?
Do I
That's
really?
what you're.
Oh my god. Okay, wait.
It should be the thumbnail.
No, for real. Damn.
That should have been a thumbnail. That should have been the thumbnail. All three of our faces like that.
We're not cutting that. We're not cutting that.
Okay,
That
don't
needs
cut
to
it.
be the
All right.
thumbnail. If you find Johnny, you need to tell Johnny that needs to be the thumbnail.
That was great. No, we have our unique thumbnails, but definitely that's gonna be a watermark right there. But yes, that brings us to a close on Tru Heel Heat 126. Thank you guys. That was great. I think the next Mount Rushmore we'll preview it because next week Tru Heel Heat 127 is our big Double or Nothing preview as we preview AEW's one of their big shows of the year. And I can announce
Saturday,
now.
correct?
Yes, I know Sunday, May
Sunday.
30th. I can announce now our special guest will be Miss Dynamite herself. She now has a weekly show on Inside the Ropes, one of the most popular UK YouTube channels. She is Miss Dynamite. You've seen her before on Tru Heel Heat twice already. She's one of my co-hosts over on Wrestling Daily. The one, the only, Stephanie Chase will rejoin us on Tru Heel Heat 127 to preview AEW Double or Nothing. So that should be a great one for you guys to enjoy. But check out the rest of our content over on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Our last Dark Side of the Ring review for Nick Gage, a great review with myself, Sat King, and Romeo Anthony Colon. You can also check out Top Guy JJ and Romeo on WrestleMania Backlash Roundtable review. Our boy Chris G did a great job with a solo review of Impact Under Siege. He did his damn thing. Solo review, did it. I love it. I love what Chris G does. Also, we got a bunch of new content. The latest NX3, our new series with Romeo Anthony Colon and Drunk Guy JJ, Rated Raw Superstars reviewing Monday Night Raw, Fusion of Honor with Stat King and Ness, and of course the return of J News Japan as he reviewed New Japan Strong Collision. So check out all that great content as well as our latest Dark Side of the Ring review for the Collision in Korea as myself, Romeo, and probably a few surprises for you as we review the Dark Side of the Rings episodes this week and our A&E biography. Look out for that one as we review the life and career of the Ultimate Warrior. That should definitely be a good one. Krssi Love, where can they find you on social media?
Wait, Fred, you didn't talk about Dark Side of the Ring. Hello.
What do you mean?
The next, who's the next episode?
I said Collision in Korea. Collision in Korea is the next episode.
Okay, my bad. I'm so sorry. Correction.
Damn, I thought you was on something. He
so
definitely did say it.
He did. Damn. I'm sorry. My bad. Edit that part out, okay?
Yeah, he will. He will.
Okay.
He will.
So
He will.
keep that part out. Okay.
I was gonna say keep that shit in, but you
No.
didn't get him.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
I am the sensationalist Krssi Love, one of the co-hosts of our weekly top show, Tru Heel Heat. You can find me on IG, Twitter, and on Facebook with my guys. I am there is Krssi Love _ just Miss Krssi Love on Facebook, Crystal Lynch.
And Top Guy JJ, where can they find you?
On Instagram, you can find me with these lovely people every week on Tru Heel Heat, the longest running show on the channel. And on Instagram, you can find me at Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Tru Heel SP3. You can find me over on the Powered 4 TV YouTube channel every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST with John Scott for Powered 4 SP3. You can find me every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. BST on Wrestling Daily with Alex McCarthy. You can see some of my content over on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. I'll be back in 1 week's time on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel with Smack Talk, the SmackDown post show with Rick Ucchino and Grandpa Dirty Dutch Mantel. So I'll be back on there, and check out myself on Fightful Wrestling, last week's SmackDown post show with Sean Rossap. And of course, if you haven't seen it already, Quizzlemania 34 for my great explanation and description of Edge and Lita's live sex celebration. Some good stuff there. So all that great content. Of course, follow our friends at Battle Club Pro, Powered for TV, Wrestling Travel, all the great promotions that we work with, Warrior Wrestling, Mission Pro Wrestling on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow Tru Heel Heat on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like this video, comment down below. We want to hear your WWE Mount Rushmore and what you thought about all the latest wrestling news. If you're listening to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Anchor, or whatever audio podcast platform, make us a favorite, give us a review, and we will mention you on the next Tru Heel Heat. If you're watching us live, any donation, super chat of $1 or more will be read out on Tru Heel Heat 127 next week as we preview Double or Nothing, AEW's latest pay-per-view, and you can check out Tru Heel Heat on Powered for TV. So until Tru Heel Heat 127, for the lovely, the beautiful Miss Krssi Love, for our resident Tru Heel alcoholic, Top Guy JJ, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 126. We are signing off until next time.